Hi, welcome back to West Coast Geeks. I'm your host, Joaquin. How we doing, people? So I just got my copy of Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. So I tried to look for a book holder, and I couldn't find one. Like even Office Max doesn't even carry them anymore. So I'm gonna have to order one online. It makes me sad. So I had to jerry rig this so you guys could see. So first off, overall impression of it, I'm really starting to enjoy the book, but I do have a few criticisms. Well, actually, really one major criticism that I'll get to once we get there. So the contents are character creation for Chapter 1, creating domains of dread, Chapter 2, the domains of Ravenloft, which is Chapter 3, which is a lot. And then chapter 4 is Horror Adventures, and chapter 5 is The Monsters of Ravenloft. So, let's dive in. I have my little place setters here. So the first part goes into like character creation. So I really haven't read enough of that to really give my opinion. Pretty cool art. The rivalry, I'm reading this on the bottom because you can't see. You can see the art, which is pretty cool. The rivalry between Dark Lord Strod von Zarvik and Aslan Rex spills through endless ages and countless domains, which is pretty true. They even did a module on it. So, first, creating the domains of dread. I think this is probably one of the best parts of the book for me. The option to help you create your own domains of dread, dude. Like, you're going to create your own Dark Lord that is specific for your campaign and your characters. And I was just thinking right off the bat that you could have a somewhat mid level villain come back to plot revenge against them, and they're now a new dreadlord, of a minor little area, and they somehow trick the party to enter their domain, and they now have to fight an old villain. It's a quick cliche, but right off the bat, that's the first thing I thought of. So they help you develop your Dark Lord, birthplace, give you ideas. But what I really liked was not for my placeholder to fall out. If I can get to these sections quick. Is the genres of horror. So the first one they did is called body horror, and they're helping you develop your villains. So they even have a section where they give you the challenge rating of these monsters that you can use, or have it to be the main villain. And depending on the challenge rating of where your group's at, it will help you develop your villain. And I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with this part. As soon as I saw this, I've been watching some videos on it. I was like, okay, I want to see what they're gonna do with this. Cosmic horror, um, pretty cool. Dark fantasy is pretty traditional. Besides the Gothic, is what you think of when you think of like Ravenloft. So the big baddie at the end could be like a Death Knight or a Beholder or a Lich. They give you your fantasy settings. They help you out with your plots on these. Excuse me. They have folk horror, which I thought was pretty cool. Like you can make up the Chupacabra, bring that to D&D. Your typical ghost stories. You got ghost reverence, even a treant. So, you know, there are so many opportunities to create your own unique story. And then we have your classic Gothic, which is what we think of when we think of Ravenloft, with vampires and werewolves and other creatures and hags and witches. Then they kind of give you what some other ideas: disaster horror, occult detective stories, psychological horror, slasher horrors. And so they don't go into that much detail. They just list a whole bunch of questions at the bottom of each one to help you flesh it out. And now we're getting to the section that most people have been asking a lot of questions about. The domains of Ravenloft. I want to say there are like 18 main. Well, first, this picture is pretty cool. I like it. So there's like 18 to 20 major domains of Greyhawk, of Ravenloft, that they included. And this is probably going to where my criticism comes in. I would give this on a scale, if I was rating it, ABC, that type of, I would give it a B, just because of the not including the stats for these creatures, right? So, I thought they did a really good job with, featured domains, currency, talking about religion, and then, Barovia is the first one they start off with. But there's no stats on Strod. And so, unless you have the Curse of Strahd, you would have to come up with these stats yourself. Now, luckily, you can look up Strahd, but all the other ones, you're hoping that somebody's going to start making these stats, which I'm sure somebody's going to end up doing. But, it would have been cool if they would have just done that. They've done that in previous editions where they have introduced the stats of the creatures that they're showing. And so um, I have the Realm of Terror box, the first set of Ravenloft. And if you go to the back here, they include the stats. And I don't know why they didn't do that. Um, I guess they want each domain to be their own, but I don't know. So that was kind of a big disappointment, that I have to go and either create these myself or look for others to do that. So of course they include Strahd. This one I thought was really interesting. The Bluet Spur. I know I mispronounced that, but this is basically a Minds Players. So that's cool. I was like, okay. I think they made an adventure with this. I'm going to have to look through to see if I have it. I don't think I ever did get it, but that's probably what I'm going to get now. But they don't really, they just barely give you a slight little gloss over. And on some of these, they don't even give you a map, which is, I'm like, oh, okay. That's interesting. Now, Borka, I think that's how you pronounce that. They give you a map, same thing with Strahd. They tell you who the Dark Lords are. They give you genres, hallmarks, and a talisman. So they give you enough information where you can build these yourself. I do like that, but like I said, I know I'm going to be harping on that. But, just give me some stats. That's all. So any one of these, you can create your own adventure, and they give you the adventuring hooks, which I like. I thought that was really cool, so I gave it an overall rating of a B. The other domain that made it in there was the Carnival. They did make an adventure of this, but I looked on eBay and like one person had it. It was like over $100. So I would just use a service like Drive By RPG or any other place where you can just download it for free if you don't want to actually pay for a module. But even though I like collecting the old adventures and stuff like that, when they start getting at that price, that's where I draw the line. Darken, which is interesting about Darken, is that it currently does not have a ruler, they're stating. So I was kind of skimming through, and Aslan, he was a lich, and apparently he escaped if I can remember correctly. The other major one, Dementalu? I don't know. Sorry. That domain, I haven't even heard of this, so I don't know if this is a new one, which it might be. I can't remember for sure if I heard they were including some new ones. So if this is a new one, that's can't wait to start reading about this. And I think it might be a new one, the way that they gave it like 3 or 4 pages. So when you look at these maps and you read the little descriptions, you can just pick a small little area and just make an adventure right there. So this seems like this is I'm not even gonna try to pronounce this. It's like Falkovina. I know I messed that one up too. Artwork looks cool. And the Domain of Ancient Dread. This one is Harakiri, I believe. So they did. I want to say they did make an adventure of this, and I have it. So these are just the samples of some of the things that they went through. I'm not going to go through them all because I'm trying to keep this video short. But they do bring on some secret societies. And they also give you the Mist Wanderers. And again, they don't give you stats on these people. And I'm like, okay, why can't you just do that? So, they got Rudolf Van Richten and some other people. But again, no stats. So I hope they come out with a supplement. The other thing I liked about this was the chapter 4 here, the horror adventure. So when you get this book, you can just jump right into it without having to create something on your own. But most experienced DMs are just going to do that anyways. But if this is your first time making an adventure for yourself, you can at least look at this for some guidelines in how to do a Ravenloft adventures. So they have a nice little adventure that's from 1st through 3rd. And then last but not least, they have the Monsters of Ravenloft. So if you've seen my video, The Created, I was talking about that you would have to create your own stats on some of these creatures. But they have the carrion net right here, so you don't have to do that. You just have to upgrade the stats on the main boss, which is his name I can't remember at the time, but Death Head. I don't know if they can't due to a copyright thing can't do the Headless Horseman. I don't see why not. It's kind of like a folklore, but I don't recall seeing him in there. And they have some cool creatures in here where I was just looking at the stuff and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I did like this vampire, the Naspuratu, where it's just a vampire at its basic, where it doesn't have the charm or the grace of vampires. They're just out there, just kind of like just hunting creatures down just for their blood. They don't care where they live. If your party were to come across this, you can almost play them off like they look like they're ghouls, right? Or they could even run with a pack of ghouls. to confuse the party members, and then then they get bit, and they're like, "What the?" So we got some priests here. Juggernaut. Juggernaut looks pretty cool. Let you get a better picture of Juggernaut. So I had a jerry rig this stand so I could do this. So I'm gonna have to go online to buy me my book holder. The artwork, I'm really loving in this book. Star Spawn Emissary. So this thing looks brutal. We got your swarms. And then they also created a new oh, can't leave without this. So Vampiric Mind Flayer. Those look super cool. I mean, I can't wait to use one of these against the party. So once I do a little bit more research on where they are, where they spawn, are they just native to Ravenloft? If they're not, then I will, find a way to incorporate them because they look terrifying. But the reason why I came to the very back was they now included ravens, and these are usually good beings. So they can, like most they can transform into humanoid or hybrid form. So for those characters who want to play and have wings and fly around, there you go. A were-raven. That zombie looks terrifying. He's a swarm of zombie limbs. And then at the very end, they give you your spirit board. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, I wanted to keep this a very short video. Just give you some highlights and let you know what's coming down the pipeline. I'm going to be making separate videos on other topics from this book. Probably not going to really focus in on like the monsters or the character creation. More about the domains and the adventures that you can grab from 2nd edition and bring into 5th edition. So that's it, people. I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment below to say, what part of this book you think is going to be most helpful for your campaign. And are you going to play any of the characters that they have in there? Because you can play like a blade type character where you're somewhat of a vampire, but you can walk in the day. So with that in mind, people, take care, and I'll catch you next video.